Welcome back to Ant on Music. I'm your host, Ant, and I hope you had a fantastic Thanksgiving if you're here in the States, and I hope you had a great Black Friday. Um, it is Record Store Black Friday as well, which means that your indie record shops around the country and around the world. We're showcasing vinyl that's, in a lot of cases, first released on that day, exclusively released for that day, numbered editions. So of course I did my due diligence. I was a good record store day fan, and I went and did my business. And we're gonna get into that in a second. But I want to make sure checking out the video. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you stopping by. Do me a favor. Click like, leave a comment, and most importantly, remember to join the colony, the Ant Colony. All you got to do is press that subscribe button. That would be awesome. So let's get into Record Store Black Friday. When I first looked at the list months ago, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link for what was available in the comments section. You may still be able to get some of these titles. I know that there's going to be people on eBay and also on Discogs looking for ridiculous amounts of money, but I can guarantee you probably a couple of your local record stores will probably have some of these titles still in stock. I was lucky enough where I was like the 9th person online at the record store that I happened to go to this time for Record Store Black Friday, and I got everything that I wanted, which was great. The only two things I missed out on were two things that did not get released that day. They were pushed back for whatever reason. One was LA Guns live in Boston in '89, and the other one was a Missing Persons live in New York from, I believe, '81 or '82. So somewhere down the line in the next months or so, they'll get released, or maybe they'll even get pushed back to Record Store Day 2024. So let's get into it. So what did I pick up from Record Store Black Friday? Well, I always look, when I look at this list, I like to see first, obviously the most important thing is what I like. I don't want to just pick something up for the sake of picking it up. It's got to be a group that I've been into. And then I look to see as far as if there's a lot of stuff, because a lot of times on Record Store Day, there's a ton of titles that are out there, and some of them are what they call Record Store Day firsts, all right? A Record Store Day first means that it just gets released first on that day, but somewhere down the line, it's going to get a re-release. Maybe it won't be a numbered edition or a limited edition or a colored edition, but that's fine. It will come out again, okay? Then you have stuff that is Record Store Day exclusive, right? Record Store Day exclusive means that's it. It's coming out this day, this version, that's it, be all end all, you're not going to get it again. And then you have the, Record Store Day numbered editions. All right, so what we're going to start off with is the Doors. All right, I've been a big Doors fan for a very long time, probably since I was a kid, probably since I was like 10, 11 years old. I had a cousin that got me into them, and this album is The Doors live in Bakersfield, California, August 21st, 1970, okay? And this is a numbered limited edition, and there are 12,500 of these worldwide, and I ended up with number 1,238. So fairly low edition of it. I got the hype sticker here. It tells you all about, the contents of the album. And, this was pretty cool show from the Doors. Less than a year later, Jim Morrison, died. So it's one of the final shows with Jim. You've got notes regarding the album in there. There's the back cover. As far as the vinyl themselves, translucent orange, pretty cool looking. Wasn't the big deciding factor for me. The fact that it was a Doors album, live from '70 at this period of time when the wheels were coming off the train, so to speak. Train was going off the tracks. That's where it was at for me. Got a very cool version of the end on here. The other tracks on here, you have Roadhouse Blues that kicks it off. A medley of Alabama song, Whiskey Bar, which is one of my favorite tracks by the Doors. When I used to work in nightclubs, I used to finish my night with Whiskey Bar. Backdoor Man and 5 to 1's all in that medley. Then you've got another medley kicking off side 2 of the Universal Mind and Afro Blues. and then it goes into full version of When the Music's Over. A really excellent version of Love Me Two Times. And then a medley of Mystery Train, Away in India, and Crossroads, and then finishing up on side 4, Ship of Fools and The End. So this was a numbered edition, limited edition. That one's going to be one of the harder ones to get a hold of. Another band that I got into probably when I was in college were these guys, the Faces. Kenny Jones, who went on to be with The Who, Ronnie Wood, Rod Stewart, of course, Ian McClagan, and Ronnie Lane. These guys, if you dig the Black Crowes, real bluesy type rock, these guys were a complete trip live. This was, the name of this is called Had Me a Real Good Time at the BBC. It's in session and in concert from 71 to 73. You've got liner notes, quotes from the band front and back on there. And this is also orange. I guess it's the fall, and we're looking at a lot of orange albums, especially around this time of the year. This has a great version of the Wing song, Maybe I'm Amazed. I love the Faces version of that. That's on this album. Other things on here, we've got Had Me a Real Good Time, Love in Vain, Oh Lord, Borrowed, Browned Off. As I said, Maybe I'm Amazed. Side 2 has It's All Over Now, Too Much Woman for a Henpecked Man, Into Street Fighting Man, another cover of the Stones. They do a great version of Street Fighting Man. Twisting the Night Away, and I Know I'm Losing You. And there's the back. Good stuff from the Faces. Got another live album. Seemed to be a lot of live stuff that I was into for the Record Store Day this year. And the next thing I picked up was this triple vinyl set. Okay, and this is a Record Store Day exclusive. Okay, and this is Little Feat. Okay, Little Feat live. Manchester Free Trade Hall, Manchester, UK, July 20th, 1977. This is the Lowell George fronted version of Little Feat, the OG version. And this is triple vinyl, okay? Nothing spectacular going on in the jacket. Does come with liner notes and a photo of the band. Basically a close-up of the cover. This was originally only included in the Waiting for Columbus box set. So this is the first time this was released as a standalone vinyl. And with this, believe it or not orange. Just basic black on the 3 albums. So I'm not going to waste your time showing you 3 slabs of black vinyl. But another outstanding set from Little Feat, and this was really when they were cooking with gas at this point. These guys kicks off with Walking All Night, Skin It Back, Fat Man in a Bathtub, Red Streamliner, Oh Atlanta, Day at the Dog Races. Then you have one of my all-time favorites for them, All That You Dream. Absolutely love that song. On Your Way Down, another favorite of mine, Time Loves a Hero, Day or Night, Rock and Roll Doctor's a great song. Old Folks Boogie, Rocket in My Pocket, title track from Sailing Shoes, another fantastic track. Then Dixie Chicken. How could you not be a Little Feat fan and not love Dixie Chicken by Little Feat? Then you've got Tripe Face Boogie, and then they finish it off with a medley of Willin', which is a classic Lowell George song. He even released it on his solo album as well, called Thanks I'll Leave It Here. That goes into Don't Bogart That Joint. Then you have Feats Don't Fail Me Now, and closes out with Teenage Nervous Breakdown. Great live set from Little Feat. Definitely, if you can find any of these records still available and you're into these guys, search them out. They're worth it. Next up, going to move on from the 70s, going to go into the 80s. One of my favorite groups from the 80s, I think probably one of the better frontmen from the 80s, guy who had a great voice, great look, died way too soon, Michael Hutchence and In Excess. This is from the Shabu Shaba sessions, and it's an album of rarities and some live cuts, stuff that's never been released on album before. You've got, instead of The One Thing, you've got The Sax Thing, Long in the Tooth, The One Thing, the extended mix, Black and White extended mix, Here Comes 2, Go West, Phantom of the Opera, and Phantom is spelled Phantim. Sour Mistake from the US Festival, along with Here Comes, Spy of Love, Old World, New World, all from the US Festival in 1983. So some rarities, some live stuff still. Pretty basic as far as the sleeve goes. There's no liner notes, nothing there. But the album is gold. Love every time I get to see gold. Break out my Austin Powers. Love that. So that's the gold album from In Excess. Shabu Shaba and Rarities. All right. So, you can check that out if you can get a hold of a copy of this as well. Next up, all right, might be a little bit of a giveaway, based on the shirt, based on some of the records behind me. You've got Anthrax over here with their version of the Kiss Rock and Roll Over cover. This was a Record Store Day release. And back here, Mr. Eric Carr. That album came out last year for Record Store Day. So what they did, it was such a success. English is important. They released it again, this time as a picture disc. And I've said in the past, I'm not a big picture disc guy, but I am a big Kiss guy. So I had to pick this up. And this is a Record Store Day Black Friday exclusive, right? Picture disc collector's edition. There's one pressing worldwide, as the hype sticker says right there. And this, the album itself is the same picture, front and back. Take that out so you don't have as much of a glare on it. So there's Mr. Carr, the late great Eric Carr. So you have that. And inside it comes with a poster of the Fox. Right there. Check that out. All right. And on the inner sleeve, the classic Fox makeup. And on the back, the notes and track listing. So, interesting story. We'll get into the Eric Carr story now. I had the honor of interviewing Eric Carr way back when I was on radio in the late 80s, early 90s. And it was actually the last interview that Eric gave here in New York. It's when I worked for WRTN's Midnight Metal. Eric came in, and I got to tell you, one of the most down-to-earth, nicest human beings you'll ever meet, Eric Carr of Kiss. He was like a big kid. He was like a kid in the candy store. He was just loving the fact that he was out there touring with Kiss. He's a Brooklyn-born kid. And to be with Kiss, for any New York kid that was a musician, that's like a dream come true. They were the hottest band in the world for a long time. And, they're wrapping it up. It's kind of fitting. The day this was released was Eric's birthday. And like I said, I got to interview him. And the funny thing is, with the interview, we kind of set him up. He came in, he was doing the interview. He's really cool. He was willing to sign stuff. I'll show you some of the signed things that he signed for me. And we were taking callers. He was very, very good. He even took calls live on air, which a lot of people don't want to do because you never know what you're going to get. So this one young lady with a good voice, really, pretty sexy voice, calls up. And so she starts talking to Eric. And as the conversation is proceeding live on air, she starts flirting with him. And I'm sitting there with Eric, and I'm watching his face, and I could see he's getting into it. So he's sitting there, and he's smiling, and, really cool. So, we're just about to go to commercial, and Eric actually goes, wow, he goes, you've got a great voice. He goes, I wonder what you look like. Without skipping a beat, young lady on the phone goes, just ask Ann. He carries my picture in his wallet. Now, all the color drains out of Eric Carr's face. He's like, what? And I start laughing. It was my girlfriend at the time. We had planned this, and he took the bait, and he was super apologetic. He was really, really humble about everything. But we let him off the hook, and, he kept apologizing to me. well after the interview was over, even all the way out the door when he was headed to the parking lot. But he was a good guy, and he's definitely missed by those people that are in the Kiss camp, and those people that are fans of Kiss and Eric Carr fans. Had him autograph a bunch of CDs because this was the late 80s, early 90s, and I had him autograph 3 for me. So had him autograph Crazy Nights, which it's in here. We have it. There's his personalized autograph to me. That's one on there from Crazy Nights. Then I also had him autograph Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits. Right there. And the last one I had him autograph was Hot in the Shade. I could have had him autograph everything, but I really didn't want to be, tremendous pain in the ass. So I just had him autograph the 3. And believe me, he would have probably signed everything under the sun, no pun intended, if I asked him to. But, rest in peace, Eric. You were a cool dude, very well loved by the Kiss camp. And it's great to have this, as a collector's edition vinyl with Eric Carr. So next up, moving right along, one of my favorite bands who actually just called it quits. With all these bands calling it quits, you have Kiss calling it quits. Aerosmith's on the road for their final time. One of the minor bands from the 80s, and we're going to wrap up with this one, these guys from Hagerstown, Maryland. Want to talk about a great live show? The goddamn Kicks Band. This is their album, Cool Kids. I have an original vinyl copy of this. This is the Record Store Day version. They put it out in a gatefold sleeve. It's as if you have the original Scotch Master tapes, 1.5 tapes, 2-inch tapes from that time. Photograph of the band with notes and track listings there. And you have the vinyl, which is like a silverish gray, I guess you could call it. This is released on Friday Music, and this was released for Record Store Day. Good album from the band Kicks. If you didn't get a chance to see them live, look up some stuff here on YouTube of them live. Man, were they smoking hot live. I was at a show. I was at a couple of shows for this. They did one at the club that I used to work in. And I hope one day that they release the footage, because they had cameras set up in the club and they were filming, I don't know whether they used some of it, for clips for one of the videos or whatever they were doing at the time, but the club was beyond packed. It was oversold. And what happened was, apparently there was such a line and such a commotion outside the club that the fire marshal got called in. Fire marshal came in and he emptied out the club, and he would only allow back in the correct amount of people. You want to keep people safe. But the whole time this is going on, the guys in Kicks are recording this. Their crew is recording it. And when they were supposed to come out, the club was basically empty at that point because everybody was standing outside the club. But they let it back in. But I'm sure there's footage of it, out there, because, like I said, they recorded the whole night. And I would love for them to release that, because it hysterically funny to see, the band just basically waiting there for the audience to show up. There's a little sticker that came with that, since it's color vinyl. Obviously, we know that. So that's everything I have for Record Store Black Friday. I hope you got some cool titles. Hope you got what you were looking for. Once again, In On Music, thanks again for stopping by. Remember, please, 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 I would like for you to click like, drop a comment. Is there something you'd like to check out? Is there something, that's come out in music recently that I could probably, that you're interested, that I could show you, that I have in my collection? And as I've said before, join the colony. Need you to click subscribe so you can keep up with me on a weekly basis. Since it is Record Store Black Friday this past week, there's probably going to be another video that's going to drop later on this week, showcasing other stuff that wasn't Record Store Black Friday. Also in the coming weeks, I'm going to look into probably Christmas music. You know, it's that season. And also, I know I'm definitely going to try and break down my top albums of the year. You know, we'll talk about that as well. See what you dig, you know, see what I was into for the past year. And, you know, it's always great to spend time with you guys. Appreciate you much. Take care. Remember, peace, one love, and of course, music. Take care, everybody. Have a great week.